Welcome to The Courage to Become, the podcast that dares you to leave the shit show of perfection behind and embrace the messy, beautiful journey of becoming who you truly are. In a world obsessed with flawless facades and unattainable standards, I am here to remind you that perfection is not the goal. Authenticity is. We believe in giving you the permission and the space to show up exactly as you are, perfectly imperfect, because that's where your true power lies. Each week, we dive into the world of energy, unraveling the whys behind your patterns, decisions, and energy. You'll discover how your unique human design can help you to break free from the constraints of perfectionism and embrace the freedom of living as your true self. We'll explore how understanding your unique type, strategy, and authority can empower you to shed the expectations that no longer serve you and help you to find confidence in your path. Why keep chasing perfection when you are never meant to fit a mold? Human design shows us that the quirks, the challenges, and even the so-called flaws are exactly what make you powerful. We'll break down the basics of human design in relatable, no-nonsense ways, helping you to navigate life with more clarity and self-acceptance. Join us for real talk, inspiring stories, and practical tips that help you to leave the chaos of perfectionism behind and courageously step into the real you. Whether you're exhausted from trying to be everything to everyone, or you're just ready to live life on your terms, the Courage to Become podcast is your invitation to show up, let go, and become who you were always meant to be. Subscribe now. It's time to ditch the perfection, embrace the process, and step into your courage. Hello, and welcome back to the Courage to Become podcast. I'm Jo, your host, and I'm so excited about today's episode because we're going to dive into something that affects all of us: conditioning. Conditioning is the process of taking on thoughts, behaviors, and beliefs from the people and environments around us. And some of this is helpful, but often it leads us away from our true selves. And thankfully, human design provides us with a powerful tool that's going to help us to uncover where we've been conditioned and how to return to our authentic energy. So today we're going to explore what conditioning is, how it shows up in our chart, and how understanding your undefined centers can help you to release what isn't yours. So let's get started. If you don't already have your chart, I do recommend having that in front of you, because anywhere where you have an open center is an area that we're going to explore a little bit more deeply today. And an open center is anywhere where it's white. And remember, the shapes are the energy centers. So let's get started with the basics. What is conditioning? Conditioning happens when we absorb energy, ideas, and expectations from the world around us. It can come from family, friends, culture, or even societal norms. And sometimes we don't even realize that we've been conditioned because it feels so normal to us. I think I talked about this in one of the first episodes, where it is all subconscious, and it's most of our beliefs came before the age of 12, where we're like a sponge. We just take everything in, and that's where we create our beliefs. And so a lot of our conditioning is subconscious to us. We do not know what's going on. We don't know that those limiting beliefs are holding us back, or that we even have those limiting beliefs. So an example of this is, you might believe that you have to be productive all the time to be worthy, or that you have to behave a certain way to fit in. Those beliefs may not actually reflect who you are, but they do shape how you live your life and how you make decisions, because you unconsciously are thinking about what other people are going to think and not about how you're going to feel. So one way to know this is to ask yourself, how do you feel about it? When you take the outside influences out, how do you feel about it? And it might be too soon. You might have some deconditioning work to do before we can get to that point, but that is a question that you definitely want to become accustomed to. And you want to become accustomed to, how do you feel in your body? Because human design teaches us that our body has all the wisdom that we need. We just need to tap into it. So in human design, we can see where we're most prone to conditioning by looking at those undefined centers, those centers that are white within our body graph. These are the areas where we are open to being influenced by others, because remember, wherever we're white in the chart, we take in energy and amplify that. So we take in the energy of the people around us and amplify that. And so that's where you're most open to and prone to be conditioned. And these undefined centers are not bad. So please don't take them that way. They're places where they're actually a gift. They're places where you are designed to learn and to grow by taking information in from other people and learning from all of that, and then molding that down into what works best for you. They can become, these open centers can become sources of pressure, overwhelm, or self-doubt if we take on energy that doesn't belong to us. So if you are open in this center and you feel pressure, or you feel overwhelm, or you feel self-doubt, that energy might not even be yours. That might be somebody who's around you. So let me give you some examples of how undefined head centers can present the energy, how the energy can show up for them. An undefined head center might make you or cause you to feel pressure to answer questions, or to have answers, or to solve problems that aren't necessarily yours, that you don't need to necessarily worry about solving, but you might feel pressure to come up with the answers. An undefined emotional solar plexus, that might make you feel sensitive to other people's feelings, and that might cause you to feel overwhelmed or avoid conflict, because what happens is you feel that energy times 10. So whatever energy they're feeling, you're going to feel it times 10. So if you have something you want to say to somebody, but you know it's going to cause them pain, you're going to avoid that with an open emotional solar plexus, because you don't want to feel that pain. So if you find yourself avoiding conflict and you have an open emotional solar plexus, that's your energy talking to you, telling you you need to face this conflict. So by understanding your energy centers, then you can recognize where you've been conditioned, and you can start to let go of those energies that are not yours. You can help to become stronger, like in the situation of the open solar plexus, become stronger because you'll know how they feel. So when you present to them, you'll be able to present in a way that takes their feelings into consideration. So let's break this down a little bit further with a few examples. So somebody with an undefined heart center, this is where you're going to feel inspiration. You might feel pressure to figure everything out or to have all the answers, and that can lead you to overthinking and cause mental burnout. But when you realize that that pressure isn't yours, then you give yourself the freedom to let go and trust that the right answers are going to come. That's another big piece of human design. When we let go of the pressure and we let go of the expectations that we have, it opens the energy up to flow freely, and the amount of inspiration that you have and the amount of things that will just come to you will hopefully help you to realize that when we let the energy flow, when we let go, it helps life just to flow easier. And then hopefully you continue working that way, where you just trust in the right things that are going to come to you in the right flow of energy. An undefined heart or will center, that is where you might feel a lack of worthiness. And you might feel like you need to prove yourself in order to be worthy. And that could show up as overworking or feeling like you're never enough. Recognizing this conditioning will allow you to embrace your worthiness without needing any kind of external validation. If you have an undefined sacral, you might be trying to keep up with the energy of others, and that might be leading you to burnout because you might not be designed the same way. You might not have that energy. You have to not honor your natural rhythm, and you have to be able to rest and recharge without feeling guilt. We talked a little bit about the emotional solar plexus, but this is an area where you might feel like you want to avoid that conflict because you feel like you'll have to manage other people's emotions, and you know how that feels and you don't want to feel that pain. And so recognizing that conditioning helps you to set boundaries, and it really does help you to prioritize your own emotional well-being. An undefined throat center is an area that might cause you to feel pressure to speak or feel like you need to speak up to be heard in a certain way. But this center can also help you to adapt your communication style to different situations, which is going to make you a more versatile and empathic communicator. So these are just a few of the ways that the energy shows up when we're open in certain areas, and how conditioning can cause us to come up with beliefs about ourselves that can really impact our life and change who we are being or who we are. And it pulls us away from who we're meant to be. And so now that you know a little bit about conditioning and how it shows up, we need to know how to decondition. And this process takes time and it takes a lot of self-awareness. But I'm going to give you some tools that are going to help you to start. So you might want to get a notebook for this. But the first thing you want to do is you want to observe. You don't want to judge. So one thing that you'll start to see in this on this journey is that there is no judgment. We don't judge anyone else because we don't know where they've come from. We don't know what cultural beliefs they have, what societal expectations they had on them, what familial expectations they had on them. We don't know anything about their ancestry. And even if we do, even if this is family, if you don't understand how someone's energy operates, and I've done this, you could hurt somebody more than you mean to because what you're saying or what you're doing isn't quite understood on the other end because the expectations and the pressures were different. And so we don't judge. We do not judge on this journey. We don't know when somebody made a decision that we may not agree with. We don't know what their life looked like at that time and why they made that decision. There's always external factors around why something happens and how it happens. And even in something like an affair, there's always a thought process that they go through when they're making that decision. And we don't know what that is. So we don't have a right to judge anyone for anything. So I'm going to ask you to observe and not judge. And then I'm going to ask you to practice letting go. Now, this is huge because letting go, I know, is a very difficult thing. But if we don't let go, we don't open up the meridian to be able to move our energy more freely. So our energy is just ticking along, and it really needs to move freely in order to operate effectively. So you can use tools like meditation, journaling, or breath work to release energy that doesn't belong to you. Even if meditation isn't your thing, just sit quietly for, 5 or 10 minutes and just sit with yourself. You don't have to listen to a meditation or try to get thoughts out of your head. Just try to sit quietly and try to keep your mind occupied without any thoughts. And just as thoughts drop in, try to remind yourself, no, I'm sitting in quiet. But if thoughts drop in, that's okay. That's what meditation is, really. It's listening to our thoughts that pop in because they may be sending us a message. So if something keeps popping in, it may be sending you a message. Listen to it. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to experiment with new patterns. So if you've been like conditioned to act in a certain way, try experimenting with new behaviors that feel more aligned with your true self. Try doing something that feels good to you that maybe you don't do because you felt like societal expectations pushed you not to do that anymore. Try going back to that. A good example of this is if you feel pressured to prove your worth, practice saying no. And that's going to help you to affirm your inherent value. You're going to be able to see your power when you can say no. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to lean into your defined centers. Your defined centers are where your energy is most consistent. This is what the energy that you're used to feeling. This is the way you show up. So use this as anchors to guide you back to your authentic self. Try not to allow outside influences to change who you are being. And then last, but definitely not least, is I want you to be patient with yourself because deconditioning is literally a lifelong process. So I want you to celebrate the small wins and be kind to yourself because this is a journey. And this journey is not an easy one. But be kind to yourself because you're unlearning those things that no longer serve you. And that's hard work. So understanding where we've been conditioned is really a powerful step towards living that life that feels more authentic and fulfilling. And when you let go of the energy and the belief and the expectations that are not yours, that's helping you to create that space for your true self to shine. And remember that your undefined centers aren't flaws, they're gifts. They make you adaptable, empathic, and open to life's experiences. So, embracing these parts of yourself allows you to grow and to connect with others in a genuine way because you can truly feel what they're feeling. So I hope that this was helpful today. I hope it's leading you deeper into the journey of getting to know yourself. Thank you for joining me for this very important conversation about conditioning and the power of your undefined centers. I really hope that you're walking away from this podcast with some new insights and some tools to start helping you to reclaim your energy. I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Have you noticed any conditioning showing up in your life? What steps are you taking to let it go? Share your experiences in the comments or on social media. And I can't wait to connect with you. Tag me in your comments, in your social media. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with someone who's ready to discover their true self. Until next time, remember you're designed to live a life that feels free, authentic, and aligned. Trust yourself. You've got this. I'll see you next time.